Sorry for the shaking. Okay, I'm ready.
Hi, I'm Austin Eartham.
And I'm Taylor Patton, and welcome to the Kitchen Table Podcast.
We're here to motivate, educate, and relate to you guys, sharing our stories, helping you to get 1% better in all areas of your life. Today we're going to be talking about emotional intelligence. I think this is a good Christmas topic, in my opinion. We'll get to that a little bit later.
Sure.
Hope you guys, go ahead.
What's your favorite thing to do at Christmas?
I just love all the traditions and...
What's your favorite tradition?
Well...
You have a lot, so...
We have my favorite one is probably just have a fancy meal and dress up on Christmas Eve, and then go to look at Christmas lights, and then we go to the latest mass possible for church, and then we come home and we actually open our gifts. We've always opened our gifts on Christmas Eve.
Really?
I've never opened my gifts on Christmas Day. I think maybe once is because I wasn't home on Christmas Eve. We're at my uncle's house way when I was young. So we came back and we were back on the 26th and we got our presents then. But literally my whole life we've opened presents at 11 p.m. on Christmas Eve.
Did you like your parents go out shopping for gifts and all that? Would you go looking for them in that?
No, I know my mom puts them, obviously when I was younger, so we go look at Christmas lights and mom's always late, and we'd always wonder if she's putting out the gifts, but then there's usually a couple of bigger ones, and then I'm maybe they're downstairs, and I've tried to look where she hides them. I know she hides some in her in mom and dad's closet, but I don't know, there's no way she can put that many gifts out that fast.
Right.
So I wanted to put my GoPro and film her. So I'm sure when I have a family, she'll finally tell me what she does or how she does. I was like, did neighbors come over? I was like, how did they do this? And obviously we put milk and cookies out sometimes, and it never got eaten once. Really? Never. Milk and cookies never eaten.
Really?
So when we were younger, it's always what's mom doing? Why is she taking, get her earrings on, let's go. And then you get older and you realize it, right? And then so my parents basically told us, we moved to a new house, or we built a new house when I was in 4th grade. And they basically told us then, they're like, hey, you might not get very many gifts this year because whatever. We just bought it or just built a new house. We don't have as much money. I was thinking about that today, actually. I thought it was normal Christmas, to be honest.
Right.
But we're like, Mom, we already know. But can you tell us how you get the gifts out? And she's like, nope. So she still puts from Santa and writing and stuff like that.
That's crazy. Well, I'll dive into that more. On my story on the end when we dive into emotional intelligence, but
okay.
But yeah, that's crazy that you wouldn't look I knew when I was younger. We always knew it was a mission. We always knew what we were getting for Christmas.
Yeah, I didn't. Mom, one year me and Ryan were looking and getting kind of antsy, and she was like, "If you want to ruin your Christmas, go ahead." Yeah. And then we decided to not.
Right.
And so as I get older, the less it's more about trying to figure it out. Right. I kind of like the surprise. One, yeah, 100%. But two, we always get one big gift a piece. So I already know I usually know what the big gift is. Yeah. Because it's the thing I want the most. I used to always want a 4-wheeler, so I'd always look outside for the 4-wheeler. Never got it. So Dad just bought one just randomly. Yeah.
Just a July day.
Yeah, just July, and he's like, I'm looking for a 4-wheeler here. We're gonna go pick it up next week. He talks about his eBay, how we got lucky on it or whatever.
That's awesome.
But yeah, you said we're gonna talk about yours later.
Yeah, because you said how
it's a good time to deal with emotional intelligence.
Yeah, that your parents said that told you guys that you wouldn't get as many because you just built the house.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That was that's something I wrote down. Not about gifts, but about kind of same thing but different.
I'm sure they thought about it with the emotional intelligence as well. But anyways, this is our last episode before we do a little recap episode next week for the end of the season. So hopefully you guys can tune into this one and the next week when we kind of reflect on how the podcast has gone right before Christmas.
They're gonna be good.
And then
break for Christmas.
Yeah, break for Christmas, New Year's, and then back for season 2 after that first week of January there. So appreciate you guys as always. Great time to be thankful. No other news besides that, I think. Challenge last week. Again, we're almost done with the year, so Taylor talked about a couple episodes ago. There was 32 days left in the year. We are down to under 20. So wondering how
17.
Wondering how you guys are doing on your challenge for the end of the year. Personally, my body's feeling great. My recovery. I've been in the green 5 days in a row on the whoop, and 3 of those have been over 90.
Gives me a round of applause.
And this is why people need to use my Vitargo link. Okay, I'll link it in. But I had a hard run that I learned. I learned so much last week, and this goes with controlling chaos too. So my run was chaos. It was hard. Right, it was long and it was hard. But I drank Vitargo during it, and then my recovery, I was like, my legs like hurt like when I got done, and then afterwards I felt fine, and I sat down like all day, which is not good, and my legs felt great the next day, and I had a drink that night.
Oh, like alcohol?
Yeah, I did get sleep, but I didn't do any recovery. So I think the Vitargo just helped me recover that much faster. I really do. Really? I need to play more with it, but I think it made a huge difference. And it tastes like grapes, so that's good. So I'll put the link in down below. You guys should really use Vitargo for any hard training. It really helps you.
What's the delayed onset?
Delayed onset muscle syndrome?
Yeah.
DOMS?
DOMS.
I didn't even get DOMS.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have
like I did
Wednesday.
Yeah, like they last Thursday.
So Saturday sucked.
Yeah. No, it was Sunday.
Oh, you get it even later, huh? You're slow DOMS.
No, Saturday, Friday bad. Saturday was really bad. Sunday bad. Today was like okay.
Yeah, but Saturday is probably the peak, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and it was Saturday, Sunday.
It's usually
bad. Like it's probably like my hardest like day workout, and it was insane. Like working and just working with kids. Like I just been around a lot. Mm-hmm. And I felt like a grandpa. Like
yeah, you just can't move. Yeah, sore.
Yeah, it was so sore.
Yeah, for all you.
And I was trying to stretch and
it doesn't help.
Yeah, and
it just warms it up.
Out, yeah.
In the end, it just times all you can do. Time and try to make it feel better.
Yeah. But so today is still a little sore, but felt way better. But I'm with it. It's bad.
Shout out to the close kicking crew out there, because all those people who are starting their workouts for the winter, the season's over, they're gonna start feeling sore. Usually it's 24 hours you start feeling it. 48 hours sucks, and then it goes a little bit lower the next day, and then 72 hours. Well, I guess 72 is the next one.
Yeah.
72 is not as bad, but it still sucks. And then 96 hours is when you start to finally feel a little bit better.
Probably the worst DOMS I've ever felt in my life.
Yeah.
I was struggling.
There's a time in college that I've had it. You can go ahead. I'll share in a second.
I ordered your close kicking shirt today.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I got. I was wrapping it at the gym.
Me too. But so in college, I needed some emotional intelligence here. I don't know if I used it as good as I could have. But basically, it was squat 5 days in a row. It was right after the semester ended. So we had 3 weeks before we had team workouts. Mm-hmm. They basically just try to kill your body to prep you for it. And obviously, spring ball hadn't done a ton of heavy lifting.
Yeah.
So it was the first 3 weeks of the summer, and literally a squat every day, 5 days a week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then 2 of those days is front and back squat.
That sounds painful.
Literally, my legs, my quads, and my glutes, I could not move. I was so stiff and sore. You could feel every muscle. I obviously kicked like crap, but I still tried to do it. It just killed me. And then 3 weeks later, you're like, wow, my legs are strong. So it does help after DOMS. Once it gets over, that pain is some gain. And the best way, honestly, it's so true. The best way to feel better is to do it again. Your legs hurt, do it again. Because the more you work them, the better it's going to feel. Obviously, don't kill yourself, because if you do it 100 days in a row, you're going to
do it again.
Yeah, but be smart about it. But you got to get into a routine where it's okay, my body knows I'm going to squat soon or whatever. That way you feel a little bit better. But that's a whole nother ball game. But anyways,
let's go to the week.
Quote of the week is, oh man, I gotta find it here. So All right, this is by Aristotle. We're throwing it back. Aristotle. Anybody can become angry. That is easy. But to be angry with the right person and to the right degree and for the right time, the right purpose, in the right way, that's not within everybody's power. That is not easy. So it's easy to be mad, easy to be angry, right? Yeah. But to be angry at the right time and realize you're angry, be angry for a purpose and have that be a lesson, that is so hard to do. Right? A lot of time we react, not like think and then act type of deal. We just have a quick reaction, boom, and we're like, oh crap, wrong decision.
You're reacting to emotion.
Yeah. Which is, that's what we had for our 9th graders today in school, is we're trying to tell them how all these kids just start reacting to something they might or not heard, and then it blow up, and next thing you know, it's spreading around social media, and you can't stop it then, right? So then the fire can't be put out. So we would just think a little bit more in society, reflect a little bit, have a little emotional intelligence, understand why you're feeling that or what you're feeling. I mean, a lot of things could be avoided, right?
For sure.
It is what it is.
Yeah. We're so okay. Yeah. Stay positive. Yeah, I'm with that on that. Like a lot of every, I feel like almost every decision you make is out of an emotion.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's what the quote's trying to get at is to recognize you feel a certain way, but try to feel,
right.
Or you can't always control how you feel, but use how you feel in the right situation for the right purpose. Instead of, like, if you're in the ball game, don't be thinking like, oh, my girlfriend broke up with me, right? Like, you shouldn't be thinking about that in the middle of a sporting event or during a test.
Yeah.
You should be thinking about whatever you are presently doing, and then have an emotion towards that and recognize that emotion. Okay, your adrenaline's moving. Like for kicking, you get on the field and your adrenaline's pumping, right? You're not used to that. So, okay, how can I take a deep breath? I recognize my body's going to want to move fast right now. How can I slow it down? Mm-hmm. So you try to practice that, but it's hard to mimic.
Yeah.
So when you get out on the field, you got to like warm-ups, whatever. You got to try to simulate, like, hey, this is a real live kick. Your body's moving. You're excited. You don't want to miss. You want to make it. You want to celebrate, whatever. So you got to take that deep breath in and think, okay, my jab's going to be here, or my first step, really, if you guys know what that is going to be big. So I want to make sure I shorten it. And I don't want to get too overextended because I'm excited. So we tend to lunge when we're excited, right? So a lot of times, like, let's say, shout out to Willie V here. Remember in his lifting event, he got so nervous on his first squat, easy weight. He got so nervous that he drops literally to the floor and he can't get back up. Right? Because he was so excited. He wants to pump it up. He goes, and he gets stuck, right? Whereas if you just take a deep breath, get under the bar, have your normal cues, sit up, go. You know what I mean? So a lot of it, we are very detrimental to ourselves a lot of the time. Our performance would be so much better if we could just emotionally, I guess, deal with our emotions.
Yeah.
That's why athletes...
Essentially just neutralizing.
Yeah, exactly. You want to think neutral.
Feel them, understand them, neutralize.
Yeah, and I mean, athletes, that's why they, at the end of the season, people who are going to retire, they say, hey, I don't want to make an emotional decision right now. You know what I mean? They want some time to think about it. After the game they lost, yeah, I got to come back another year to win it, obviously.
Right.
But then you think about it, okay, maybe that's not the smartest thing to do. Right. Here's the reasons why.
Yeah.
So, anyways, let's
or to, like, quit your job if you had one bad day.
Yeah. That's overreaction,
or
right?
Or to, like, break up with your boyfriend, girlfriend because you had one fight.
Yeah, a bad day is not a bad life. Right. I mean,
there are bad moments, not a bad day.
We can talk about my fiance and I back in April was like a 180 from what we are now. It was like, whoa, like, where are we going right now? What are we doing? Then you think about it, time, talk it through. Now here we are, right?
Right.
So, I mean, time, effort, and just talking, communication, and just kind of reading the situation a little bit. Like, okay, I'll give this quick story and then we'll go to break here. But I was thinking today, or really yesterday, Emotion was more like Saturday, actually, during our prep thing that we had. So in our relationship, we're better when we both recognize that the other person is doing good, like trying to be better. And then in return, we are better to them. Like it just kind of flows like that. So if somebody is being emotionally intelligent to you, you're going to hopefully reciprocate that just because you feel it, and you might not even recognize it, you're just do it naturally. Next thing you know, your relationship, your performance, and whatever you're doing, your tests, doing a workout, sports, whatever in your job, it's just going to be better. But let's go to break, and then we'll get a formal definition and keep jumping at this. All right. Definition of emotional intelligence is the capacity to be aware of, control, and express one's emotions to handle interpersonal relationships judiciously and empathetically. So meaning interpersonal, meaning inside yourself is what that means, right? So your own emotions, and then judiciously and empathetically basically means carefully, and that empathetic, you feel that, right? You recognize that feeling. And then obviously it says to be aware of. And then I think the biggest one is after you're aware of it, how can you control it? And then why are you expressing that? Or how, maybe just being in a leadership position, how do you portray it? Right? Because you can feel it, but as a leader, sometimes you need to maybe portray it a different way. So how can you get out of your funk? I think in relationships, it happens all the time. Somebody told me that the key of relationships is to not hate each other at the same time. Right? Because it's easy to be in a good mood when everything's going great, but one person's down in the dumps or pissed off for some reason, it makes you want to be pissed off too, right? Either because they did something wrong or their life's not going how they want, and you want it to be good for them, right? You want them to be happy and stuff. So that could bring you down, but it's got to be hey, I need to take one for the team. I need to be prideful here. I need to tell them it's okay. I need to support them, rather than saying like, oh, you messed up. What is wrong with you? Or, hey, this isn't what you're supposed to do in life. Like, quit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's where like empathy, perspective, compassion takes its place. Because if someone having a bad day, like normally people don't just wake you know how you like hear that like wake up on the wrong side of the bed or whatever.
Yeah.
And that, which I think is sometimes like true, and that you wake up late or whatever. But 99% of the time, something happened within the first 10, 15 minutes of the morning to make the morning bad.
Yeah.
Then you're gonna roll it into your afternoon, then you roll it into your night.
So you did recognize that, hey, this is the one thing that caused me to be in a bad mood?
The first thing I think of is people getting mad in rush hour traffic.
Yeah, very common.
Yeah.
They let it ruin their whole night.
Yeah. And they're cussing out the person that cut them off, and the person that cut them off probably thinking about 10 other things.
And you're never going to see them again, probably.
Right.
So why give them that power?
100%.
And then also, like, why go home to your kids and
same thing like the
spouse
person,
and put it on them?
Right. Same thing like the person that cuts you in line at the grocery store.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, yeah, unfortunately, like you got to wait 5 more minutes and that. But at the same point, like, maybe that's a good deed for the day that you're like, hey, like maybe they just need to get home to their family because this happened, or they need to get going because they're late to work.
Yeah, I also think though, in that example, the grocery store one, I think my mom's really good at this, and I think my fiance is too, which I'm kind of not. So I really like that. So the person at the grocery store cuts you off. You got to know when it's appropriate to be like, hey, that's not right, type of deal too.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Like recognize that and turn it into that learning lesson that Aristotle said in the quote of the week. Because at some point you can't just let people push you around, you know. But then again, you don't need to go home and be like mad or be like, yeah, I did this and feel like a big shot. But also you need to help them realize in their own emotional intelligence, hey, I can't be cutting people all the time just because I'm in a hurry or whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think there's a time and place to also put others in their place. And you can do it in a way that's not, I guess, like very forceful. We'll use that word. So I think it depends on the situation.
Yeah. I think that just is like having that self-respect.
Yeah.
And that, like, you don't let someone walk all over you, don't let someone bully you, and that, but at the same time, don't let someone affect you just because they made a decision.
Which is also, both of those are emotional intelligence, right?
Yeah.
You're recognizing, hey, this can't happen, or
Right.
recognizing, hey, this is a time I can let this like slide, that they need it more than I do, whatever it might
Right.
be. So both of those are situations when you walk out of the store, you should feel better about yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think like usually the older you get, the more you kind of learn about yourself, because you have to know yourself for emotional intelligence. Like ninth graders, they don't really know themselves. Today I asked them questions and they couldn't really answer.
Right.
They just say like, what affects you? They're like, oh, friends, peers, media. I was like, yeah, but how does that affect you? Like, how do you know that?
And again, like that comes with teaching too. Like,
oh yeah.
How they like
they're still black and white fingers.
Right,
they're only 14,
ninth
15.
grader.
Exactly.
Actually, you can ask that question.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So one, I think it was a bad series of questions we were supposed to ask them today, because it's, my opinion, it's too difficult for them to realize.
Right. No, I wouldn't say it's bad, because it's just a learning point. And you could say like it wasn't effective today, but maybe they might start asking themselves tomorrow.
Yeah, but I'm saying for the most part, they're not mature enough to think about it. They don't care right now.
Right.
Until they get into something happens to them. Right. Then they recognize it, or they just get older and you kind of learn, you're a little bit more wiser. Then it's kind of like, okay, they're in that spot. But it doesn't hurt to introduce it to them, though.
Yeah, because the thing I've learned at Woodward is we take kids between 12 and 18, so they all come in different ages and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But introducing them to hard topics and hard points right away
makes a difference.
Yeah. Because again, like they're not gonna understand it because they've never been
they never had it.
Yeah, they never had how do you say, like immersed into it, and that. But then in month 4, 5, and 6, when they're getting ready to go home, and you're hitting them with that same hard topic,
then they've thought about it a little bit.
Yeah, and they're starting to understand it a lot more.
Which again is experience is the best teacher, right? So if somebody introduces you to something, you're more likely to follow through with it, right? If nobody ever introduced it to you, it's like you're a little baby in it, right? Because you never heard about it. You can always. I wrote a quote. I was doing my quotes this week, and it said, one of the quotes is, "You're never too old to be a beginner," right? We could learn. I mean, we've been learning a lot about like cryptocurrencies and stocks these past 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
Like we were once a beginner. Think about how much more we know now. And it's just like, if I would have learned this 3 years ago, I could have made so much money now.
Right.
Yeah, but we didn't. That's part of life. You know what I mean?
But now we're prepared to move in the next 3 years.
Yeah, exactly. And there'll be something else that we're learning.
And we're still 100% beginners.
Oh, I mean,
we're still a little.
Yeah, but we're a lot further than we were before.
For sure.
We don't need to look at the outside. We just need to look at interpersonally, where are we at?
We went from the egg to the apple.
Yeah, so I mean, we're doing great. We're swimming around.
Yeah, but yeah, like today, like it's this kid's 3rd day, and for whatever reason, he's struggling with life, all that stuff. He's struggling, and I mean, he's 15 hours away from home, and then never really been outside his state and all that stuff. So, and coming into Woodward, where we have these set rules, standards, expectations that you have to meet, and not having those expectation standards and all that stuff, like I think today it hit him hard. Like he didn't want to talk. Like we have this thing called DCG, Daily Communication Group.
Yeah.
Basically, we sit in a circle. We talk about usually it's like things that happen, like negative things that happen, and how to improve them. Like kids steal, cussing, fighting. I mean, any variety of things, and that someone gets mad, it reacts the wrong way. Like kind of the stuff we're talking about. So we walk in, we're ready for DC. This kid, so we don't wear hats and hoods in the building, and so he wouldn't take his head off. This man sat in the same spot for 6 hours today with his hood on. Not discipline. And that, I mean, because again, like it doesn't affect us. It's just affecting you and your time.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like your hood doesn't affect us, but the expectation and following through does. And so like he was very much like trying to get someone provoked to fight him, and that because he wanted to let out that emotion. And then so through 6 hours of once the rest of the group moved on, he stayed with 2 staff, and after 6 hours, like finally moved on and all that stuff. And like the staff got information, and I talked to him, and so just like having that conversation, and that helped move on. Again, like it wasn't the principal, the hood. He just didn't know how to express his emotions properly. Yeah. So the first thing he's gonna do is disobey.
Yeah, which I mean, think about most kids. Most kids throw a fit or something like that, right? Pout. Yeah. Right. All those are the first things that you do, and then as you grow, you're like, I don't need a timeout for this. You know what I mean? Like somebody tells me to do. It's not even about like following the rules. Yeah,
and that's what I'm saying is like
you just do it.
Yeah, and because it gets an expectation.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it just builds character. Like if you can walk in, if you're in a room or in a place where like they have set expectations, and you can follow them without an emotional attachment, no one can control you.
Exactly.
But yourself.
And that's the problem with today's world, especially with COVID, right? Mask, no mask, respect, no respect. Like everybody has an opinion, it becomes political, and then it's even worse. Whereas in the end, if people just live their lives,
I was thinking about it. I was like,
it wouldn't be so blown up.
Yeah, like the people at my work are very concerned about COVID and all that stuff. Never once in my day have I ever thought about COVID in a fearful manner. Not once. And even when it started, anything like that, I've never thought of it in a fearful manner.
We could just do a whole.
And
so literally, I think everybody has an opinion on COVID at this point.
Right. And no matter what your opinion is, rather like it's very serious. It's just a personal opinion. Like.
Yeah, and in the end, our opinion does not matter.
Right. Exactly.
It really doesn't, because we don't make the laws, so we're either choosing to follow them or choosing not to follow them. And honestly, I don't care if we follow them or don't follow them. Just emotionally, you just got to be able to go about your day.
Right.
Right? If you don't follow them, you got to be aware of the consequences. If you do follow them, you got to be aware of other
people's
opinions.
Choices.
So I mean, it doesn't. In the end, if you can detach your emotions, or at least recognize your emotions towards it, because a lot of things it's hard to be just detached, right?
Yeah.
So you always have, especially like I feel like I have an opinion on everything. I watch a football game. It's like people say, I don't really care who wins here. I pretty much always care who wins. Like in the back of my mind, I always care.
Right. Like you always like.
But it's not like I was telling Stephanie the other night. I don't even care who wins this game anymore. I just want to see a good game. Like I care about a good game. I want it to be close. I want to stay up and watch it.
Like the Chiefs game?
No, that game sucked. It was a waste of time. The Sunday night game was good until about the third quarter. Yeah. Then I was like, I'm done with this.
Yeah.
So again, I have an opinion all the time, but emotionally, I didn't care about it, right? Yeah. So I recognized that it's not that close. Who cares? Let's move on.
Yeah, and because me, I don't care to wear masks, and that I wear it when I have to. All that stuff, I have no problem. Like if your guidelines, wear a mask, I'll wear a mask. I have no problem. And what we're like, staff wear masks, students don't have to. Yeah. But you can't. Like we say like to persuade the kids to wear masks and all that stuff, but they don't care.
Yeah.
They're isolated, so they're not too worried.
Yeah.
Took this one kid we went on a transport today. This kid was wearing 3 masks.
It doesn't even.
It's like the dog was like, okay, you can put your mask down. So
he puts one down,
so it doesn't fog over. If you put one down, the dog, you can move it. He's like, no worries, you can move the other one too. Put it down.
There's another one. Did they say you could take that one out too? Or did they laugh? Did the doctor laugh?
It's like we were all laughing. And like this is like, I mean, hey, it's like his worry and all that stuff.
It's like, at what point do you just walk around in a Michelin suit? You know what I mean?
Right. I was like, that's a lot. That's a lot of pressure on the face. I was like, that's really got to suppress like your breathing, my guy. Just in the fact that you learn wearing free and like the process of you just
You gotta hurt your nose.
you don't you pull your mask down.
But anyways,
Yeah.
that's a good story. Something else that I've been like emotionally invested in lately, and then today I was like, you know what? Who gives a crap?
100%.
It's my fantasy football team. So I've always been first or second in my league since, I mean, we've been doing it like 7 years. Always been first or second. Always lost or won the championship. And this year, I got screwed in my draft. Last year, everybody got hurt, and I still ended up winning. And then now my team was doing good. I was on like a 6-game win streak. Then I had 4 people out this week due to injury. So I had 2 people not even play. Anyways, I was pissed.
Like you're very emotionally invested.
I am. And then I looked at it today, and I was like, okay, how can I come back? Then I was like, my friend Dayton, shout out to you, Dayton. I play him next week. Or no, he's below me.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like always duking it out for the top. And then he ended up winning this week against one of the better people, and I lost to a crappy person. So now I'm pissed because it's like, you know what? I've invested all this time and energy, and then my team just doesn't work out sometimes. You know, I was like, you know what? Why am I getting so angry about this? And it still sounds like I'm angry because I'm like so passionate about it. But then I was like, I don't need to spend all this time to change my roster. If I win, I win. If I lose, I lose. Like, who cares? Move on.
Right.
I always do that. I get tired of something, I say, who cares? Move on.
Right. Especially, I cared for like the first 5 weeks, and then I was like, it's not worth my time to really like invest a lot of time in this.
That's right. It's a stressor because then you're like, I need to do this, need to do that. So then, like, I do that for like when anything I write on my like shopping list or like something I need to get done that day, and I keep putting it off because I don't want to do it or I don't have time. At some point, I just like, you know what? This is not important. I delete it because who cares, right? Stressor done. Didn't have to do it. Sometimes that's bad, sometimes that's good. But either way, stress-free, and I recognized that it was affecting my life, so get rid of the stressor, you know what I mean?
Right. I mean, that's just not a way to live. Like,
yeah, you got to know the problem and then get rid of it.
Yeah. Or learn how to deal with it.
Yeah, that's
get rid of it, learn how to deal with it.
That's what I was going to say, because I think it talks about a couple of these in here.
Yeah.
But anyways, one thing before we get to ways to make yourself better at emotional intelligence is I think Christmas is a great time to think about emotional intelligence because there's always some sort of crap. Just like chaos last week, there's always chaos at holidays, right? You see a family member you don't like, you got to make something, you're not ready, shit hits the fan, sorry for my language, gossip, right? Something always goes wrong or is just not the way you want it, right? So it's stressful. You got to go all these places. You got families to get to, gifts to get, traffic, and then in the Midwest, snow could be an issue, right? Still trying to get workouts in, whatever it may be. But it's great to recognize all those feelings, and then it's a great time to be joyful and spend time with loved ones. So like to not take that for granted. Like I was thinking as I get older now, the Christmas stuff's not as fun as it used to be. I used to look forward to college. Okay, I hope we get 6 inches of snow. Ryan and I will have a snowball fight outside. Mom will make us hot chocolate. We'll decorate the tree. I'll sleep all day long. I'll be in my pajamas. I'll start a fire, have Christmas lights on downstairs, watch on the big screen TV, just watch movies. You know what I mean? Like it's so fun and cozy. And then you're like thinking, wow, I don't get that anymore. And I think it was 50 degrees today. That's not bad either.
It's supposed to be 71 on Wednesday.
It's going to be like 50 mile an hour wind though.
Hey, I'll take 71 though.
It's going to feel like 50 because it's so windy.
I'll take 50 any day of the week.
Okay, anyways.
Compared to 22.
So my point is to like recognize those times. Like I'm in a great spot because I can start new traditions this year. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's all fun. You just got to decide how you're going to feel about it in a way. And then recognize that and just be present with it. Because once New Year's hits, everything, I mean, except for in the church, technically it's still Christmas time, but basically all these decorations, all the cool lights, all that stuff goes away and you're just stuck with cold. You go back to work, it's cold outside.
The worst.
And there's no sunshine.
I feel like now, like, winter doesn't really, like, arrive till, like,
January.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Through March.
Because nobody cares about the winter in December because it's Christmas time.
Yeah.
Right? It snows beautiful. It snows beautiful.
And it's still, like, you kind of have, like, those, like, warmer days, like, it's still, like, 40 40.
And if you don't, you go home, you take a hot shower, you feel cozy under a blanket,
and then
get the fire going, watch a movie, cuddle up. Like, it feels great.
It's middle of January and it's 10 degrees outside.
Yeah, and you're like, this
and
sucks.
You hate life.
Yeah, it's literally like just a mood change.
Right.
So for us to recognize that now, how can we make this better? It's just like daylight savings. You get tireder.
Mood 4.
Yeah, I don't think that matters.
How about mood 4?
Yeah, I don't know about that. Let's talk about ways to do emotional intelligence a little bit better. So this is on Inc.com. It's an entrepreneurial website. Anybody can Google this, to be honest with you, but we're going to talk about 10 different ways.
I hope our audience can Google something. I really
I meant like they could, like, it's easily accessible. I meant.
Yeah.
I'm saying they could just Google it and it's one of the first things that pops up. But I looked through a couple others and I like this one. We could start coming up with lists, but we don't know everything, right? So it's nice to get other perspectives as well. Yeah. So number 1 is to utilize an assertive style of communicating. So basically, I mean, communication is always important.
Which I have grown into. Like when I 2 years ago when I first started at Woodward, I didn't know how to be assertive. I didn't know how to be confrontational. And now it's like a daily basis communication style I have.
Yeah, I think this goes with the leadership one, because if you feel scared, you cannot let the other people know that. You know what I mean?
For sure.
You're supposed to be a leader, so you got to be assertive. Hey, this is what we're doing, and be confident in your decision.
Yeah. There's definitely been some times there where I'm like, this should go really real fast.
I think of the crypto world right now, like people are saying all their opinions and stuff, like.
Right.
In a way, some of it's you're behind a screen, so it's not that hard. But in a way, people who know you, it's put people on the line with a lot of money, right? So that's why they say not financial advice, et cetera, but it really is. Anyway.
But it's not.
Yeah.
It's just their opinion.
Yeah, it is. You're right.
It is.
But then again, everybody just has an opinion. The head coach of a national football team has an opinion, but most people are going to listen to him, right? Because he technically should know what he's talking about. So it depends, right?
And no one's opinion they matter.
In the end, no. It's all about what you think.
Especially if it's concerning you. Like if someone says you're ugly, you have a bad sense of style.
It's that person's opinion.
Yeah.
What others think he's ugly, other people think he's beautiful, right?
Exactly.
It's culture depends. All it depends. Again, so don't take it too personal. I hope that's going on here. Is don't take things too personal.
Yeah.
You shouldn't. Yeah. That really screws up your emotional intelligence. Yeah. You take everything personal, you're never going to be happy.
Right.
Never.
You're always going to be in an upset state.
Yep. And I learned this weekend that the number one thing about happiness is love. So share love, get love.
Along with that is you have to have such a balance of accepting all the comments, all the opinions that between the good, the bad, the great, the ugly.
Yeah.
And having such a balance of accepting them, internalizing them, because at the end of the day, no one's opinion matters than your own of yourself. Yeah. And in the end, besides people who are close to you, nobody cares until you're rich, famous, or dead anyways. Right. But also, that's why emotional stuff is so hard, because, and we'll get into this when we talk about relationships and stuff, but it's so hard because you feel it, and then nobody's perfect, so you sometimes feel something, but you can't get out of the funk, you know what I mean? Or you can't get into the funk, one of the two. Right. There's such an interest, psychology and all that.
Human brain.
Such an interesting fact.
Very complex.
Yeah. Where some people were born with more I don't want to say anger, but more of an aggressive, emotional mindset or and then some are more you gotta use it to control it. Right. What is it? The zodiac signs, the rising, falling, all that stuff. That's such an interesting way of people's psychology and emotional development. Yeah. And all that. All right. Number 2 is to I lost my spot. Number 2, something we talked about a lot, is to respond rather than reacting to conflict. Oh, love that. I mean, we've hit that. That's, in my opinion, the number one problem with emotional intelligence is people just react. Mm-hmm. Right? A lot of times, that's good when you got trying to save somebody's life per se, or you gotta do something lickety split. I would even say it's all about the response. If you react, it's purely out of like emotion. But if you respond and that like if you can be not like a disaster, like any type good bad situation, and that if you just react like that's just like first thought, instinct, flight, like what is it, fight or flight.
Fight or flight, yeah.
And that, but then like when you react, it's actually like getting more of a mindful action.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
So
number two, go ahead. You got something?
I was just gonna say, I was just gonna say, yeah, I coming from like such a neutral like presence, and that like I like one of my biggest things is like seeing overly competitive like kids and people, and that which like it's scary, like especially when you can't control those emotions. Like it's a little bit more like nerve wracking on the opposite side that like you see this like I'll just throw an example, like we have a kid that like when he's in a competitive situation it's all emotion, and he can't control anything. Like you can see like he can't control anything he does.
He's a guy who loses in the video game and he quits before the game's over.
Yeah, cries,
yeah,
smashes things, like, and that which is such like a scary place to be emotionally, and when you're in that deep of like emotional conflict with yourself,
yeah,
it's a scary place to be.
Yeah. Number three is something that you kind of hit on, like being from a neutral state, is to use active listening skills, which again helps you respond properly. Number four is an interesting one though. It says be motivated. Like you have to want to know yourself. You have to want to be better at emotional intelligence. Otherwise, essentially, it's not going to happen for you or anyone around you. 5 is to maintain a positive attitude.
Yeah.
Which,
along with that, yeah, with positive attitude and the thing before that, like the better you know yourself, the less things affect around you.
That's number 6 is self-awareness.
And that, the more, yeah. So like the more you understand, the more you're able to accept who you are and how you emotionally react to different situations, to different things. 100% better you're gonna be.
Yeah. Number 7 is to take critique well, so don't take it personal, essentially.
Yeah. To me, like when you hear like critique or like feedback and all that stuff, it's such like I think it's such a hard thing to do, and that to give.
Yeah, well,
and that because to me, it's more of like I'm scared to give this to you because I'm afraid of what your reaction or think about what I'm saying. They're gonna take it in a negative perspective. When like usually most feedback comes out of like a loving place. Just like your parents usually will give you feedback or help give you advice through situations through a loving situation. Most. There are some really shitty parents out there.
Yeah.
But there's some fantastic.
But I always think like as I get older, and it's more like, okay, I'm on my own type deal, you know? But some of it is when you're in high school, middle school, you kind of just live under the roof for your parents or guardian, whoever it may be, and you kind of just, you're forced to follow the rules, you know what I mean? But now you don't have to. So what I always think about is it's worth asking somebody's opinion, but in the end, that really just helps you internally know what you should do.
Yeah.
Right? So don't let them sway your opinion by what they said, but listen to them, actively listen.
Because I understand, because like a lot of people sometimes see stuff you don't see.
Yeah, but in the end, you know the situation the best, right? Yeah. So you got to go with what you feel like is the best. So you can ask for advice, take advice, but in the end, all theirs is just an outside opinion. So you really can get feedback. Now, if you're looking for an answer and they give it to you, a lot of times people run with that, right? Because you got backup. If they say something opposite to you, okay, that motivates you. I'm going to show them that it's going to be better. Or if you take emotional out of it, like you said, they might have a different perspective. Okay, how would this affect me long-term, short-term? What do I think is the best decision for my life? So you got to know when to take advice and when not to, and when to listen to an opinion and when to say, thanks, but no thanks type of deal. Which again, easier said than done, right?
Exactly. Which is, to me, like, having gratitude is like very much like a great place to be. And that when you're thankful for like everything you have, and that is such a like an easy, like, to me, I guess I should say it's an easy place to get to, easy place to be.
Yeah.
And then it's like, for some people it's not. That's just like, again, self-awareness. I wish we like understood or could teach like self-awareness.
Yeah, it's something that you just kind of got to learn as you go about life.
And that, like, but like really, if you look around, like, there's not really like a lot of good teaching points on self-awareness.
I'm sure we can come up with some.
Yeah.
We're kind of doing it right now, in my opinion. I mean, so emotional intelligence is self-awareness.
Right.
In a way.
But on the broad scheme of things, like, we're just hitting emotions. And we don't have any like technicality points to really like improve self-awareness. And that.
Well, I think there is no, because everybody's got their own life, so I don't think there's a lot of technical points. Do this and you will be successful.
Like, the closest person I've seen is probably like, I'm blanking on his name. Oh, dang it. He's like a big guy. Dang it, dude.
Give me a category here. He's a comedian. He's an actor. He's a sports person.
He does like.
We know him. We don't know him.
We don't know him. Like, he's a big guy. Like, he's
big as in he's physically big.
Yeah, he's done it for years. Oh shoot.
He's dead?
No, he's done it for years. It doesn't matter.
That's
the best I've seen.
Well, I think I don't know what a scale of judging self-awareness would really be.
Yeah, but yeah, just
to me, I think the biggest thing about emotional intelligence, as we're finishing, we got a couple more on the list, but I think the biggest thing, most important to me, is one, can you be neutral in your emotions? Meaning, can you recognize it? By meaning neutral, I mean, can you recognize it and deal with it? AKA respond, not react. Understand why you're feeling that. And then if you get really good at it, because this is self-awareness, you get really good at it, you can change your emotions. Not all of them. Everybody has that human, you just feel when you feel, right? You can't change an emotion all the time.
Right.
But in certain situations, like sporting events, I truly believe you can change an emotion.
Yeah.
Right? Fear. You can change that fear. I'm scared. I'm going to drown, right? I'm going to drown. You know what? I'm not going to drown. I can hold my breath for 5 minutes. I'm not going to drown. I'm fine. Don't panic.
Or most professional athletes trick themselves from feeling nervous to feeling excited because it's the same.
Yeah, it's literally in a lot of psychology books. Yeah, same thing, only you turn it to be positive. Right? I'm not nervous. I'm not going crazy because my adrenaline's going because I'm scared. I'm excited because I'm going to do great today. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then like same thing with pressure. A lot of people get nervous during pressure. Change that pressure. You're lucky if you feel pressure. It means you're worth something. You know what I mean? Like, it's a privilege to have pressure. You get to be in the spotlight.
And along with that, like, and then going to like gratitude, like being thankful that you get that opportunity to participate in that.
So again, doing all that, we put emotional positive, right? So first we got rid of the negative, went to positive, and then we took the emotional out of it. So it's really just, okay, this is it, right? It's just on the piece of paper. It is what it is.
Yeah, and being thankful for it.
Yeah.
Good or bad, because like you got
the opportunity.
Yeah. You have to wake up and live that through that day.
Then again, sometimes you execute, sometimes you don't. Again, if you did your best at that moment, truly did your best, not try, truly did your best. We had this debate last time. Then really go to the shower, whatever, go home, see your family, wake up the next day, do it again. Sometimes we put too much emphasis on how we feel, right? We're down in the dumps. I used to have a coach in middle school. We lost the football game. He's pissed the whole week. Like, dude, move on. We're 7th graders in football, right? So I used to hate the kids though that right after the game they get like they're all jolly. Like if it's important to you, you should be mad for a little bit.
Right.
But then
like
think
really
about
what's
it.
the matter? It sounds great. Like
No, yeah, that's
people are just happy to play.
Yeah,
that's even if like
yeah, it's totally different. Like the bus rides home are the best part compared to like actually playing well, you know. That.
Right.
But when it becomes a job, I mean, everybody's a little more serious about it.
Right.
But anyways, that goes with number 8 is to empathize with others. Sometimes I just didn't feel empathy for those who are like grow up, you know, like this is important, be mad, otherwise get off the team. So I got to work on that a little bit, but you also got to know when. I think some emotions are stronger than others. Like love, I don't think you can really you can't change that. Like you feel the love, the warm heartness, you know, you can't just get rid of it.
No.
Sometimes anger you can't either, depending on the situation.
This is. I don't think you can get rid of it, but you can neutralize it.
A little bit. The love,
100%. Oh, I guess this is just like.
I think love takes a lot of time though.
For me, like, I don't know. I feel like I just put a lot of growth in the last 2 years. Cause for love, I used to be obsessed with it and like understanding it and like lust and love and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And now it's just like I can neutralize it very fast. Same with anger.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very much a neutralized situation. Like
I'm
so confident. Like I'm one of the more like neutralized people in the world. Like I live in such a neutral state that like nothing really affects me.
Yeah. And I think so number 9 is to utilize your leadership skills, but number 10 is to be approachable and sociable.
Yeah.
I think that goes with the stuff you were just saying, how if you can take a emotion out of it, you can be neutral, you can put a smile on your face, like that makes you easily approachable.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas me, I'm a little more like step by step, boom, 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 this is what we're doing. Again, I can take the emotion out of it, but
I feel like you're more a little emotionally charged.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. Some of it is I got bajillion passions, and you can probably tell those you are listening when I get excited, like on the podcast, I start going crazy.
Right. We're like me, I can neutral things so fast, but I have very much a hard time getting things to like deploying, and that when I can deploy, like I can neutralize things very fast, but like deploying like love and all that stuff sometimes is a struggle.
Yeah, I agree with that.
My greatest thing is the only thing I really know I can deploy is empathy.
Yeah, I'm pretty what's the word I'm looking for? Not soft, but empathetic, sensitive. I'm very sensitive.
Yeah.
People really get to know me, so that I definitely agree with that. There's one thing we haven't talked about that I think is really important for emotional intelligence: body language. Like if you have bad body language, it doesn't even matter how you feel. If you look that way to others, it's gonna set something off, whether it's good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Which is why we
like body language is a huge thing. Nonverbal cues, you really got to be like thinking about even like your posture. If you're just slouched over, and it could just be a cloudy day, and you walk in and everybody's all slouched over, it's like, why is everybody mad in here? Whereas if they're like sitting up, chest out, and they're like looking around, smiling, you know, then it's like, oh, everybody's in a good mood. Like I could come home and I could know if Steph's in a bad mood, just like I could know if my brother's in a bad mood. Just like I can tell if you're in a rush. Like it's, I remember coming home, or Mom would be coming home back in the day. You can just tell if she had a long day or not. Like she gets groceries and, why did you help me right away? And it's like, Mom, you literally just walked in the door.
Yeah.
Like you can just tell like body language, like she's prancing around fast. It's just so obvious. So I think body language is super important.
Like,
it's how you portray things.
I think like we can deep dive into that another day. Yeah. Because
most people know
that's such a huge thing.
Yeah, most people know that what body language is, but I don't know if most people know why it's so important. Especially again from a leadership standpoint. We could talk to Mr. Hager about this again too, about body language and being a leader. He comes on hopefully in January.
Yeah.
But anyways, go ahead. Challenge of the week is what I was going to go to.
Okay.
Good with that? Anything else on emotional intelligence?
The only thing I really have is I'll just say that I'm just so thankful. Like walking in, last thing I think walking to work. We have these kids. We have like 1/3, maybe half that have like parents or like I was especially like putting in this because I work on them like dads like that actually like participate in like their lives, care about them and all that stuff. And so I just like am very thankful for like my parents.
Yeah.
And like stuff they like instilled in me. Like my dad was like very much like you're gonna treat people with respect, and that like you never know like what's happening in other people's lives. Like he's very taught me from like an empathetic, compassionate like place, and he's like always be respectful, always hold doors for others, always say hi, always nod. Yeah. And that just shows like
which again we need a whole podcast episode on why your experiences matter. We really do. But yeah, it's good to be thankful. Let's talk about the quote of the week, or not quote of the week, challenge of the week.
We're going back into it.
Challenge of the week. I really just thought of this one to be super simple, because I think again a lot of people struggle with emotional intelligence. So one, can you recognize your emotions throughout the week? Anytime, happy, sad, tired, whatever, hungry. Can you recognize hungry? Everybody recognizes that. Can you recognize your emotion?
Yeah.
And then two, can you either think why you feel that way, or three, can you respond rather than react to that? And that's mainly thinking about anger or sadness or being super excited, maybe overly excited. If you can do both of those, I think that's a great start to be emotionally intelligent. Because everybody's a little bit different. So that can wire anybody right there.
I like it.
So I'm gonna try to I'll be doing mine at school, I'm sure. So, anyways. Anything for you?
Follow me on my Instagram.
All right, we'll link everything down below. Okay. Have a great rest of your guys' week, and we will catch you on the 1440 and then on the recap next week for the end of season 1. Have a great rest of your week.
Love it. Bye.